Now it's time to look ahead to the huge Premier League opener at Old Trafford against Fulham. And I'm delighted to say that we've been joined by talkSPORT reporter and huge Fulham fan, Harry Durham. Welcome to the show,
Oh, let's
Harry.
do this, mate. Let's do this. Come on.
You're chomping at the bit.
Oh, mate, we've got back-to-back wins at Old Trafford this weekend. And you're Winston. I don't understand. Well, we're going to do this. We have to.
You reckon? Yeah.
Oh, 100%, baby. Let's get it out on the table now.
How excited are you to see your first defeat of the season on Friday? Come on, talk to
God,
us
that
about
is
the game.
such a low blow. It's unbelievable.
Well,
Listen,
come on.
Yeah.
You had a little...
You guys have a little sort of like, draw at Old Trafford, at Wembley, lose on a penalty shootout, and all of a sudden you think you're getting top four. It's so cute. But listen, back-to-back wins, which is unheard of for Fulham at Old Trafford. Listen, let's go straight back to that.
24 defeats in a row.
Yeah, 24 defeats in a row. I think I mentioned to you earlier, it was Inamoto 2002, 3.
Was that Pizza Hut on front of the shirt?
Yeah, Pizza Hut on front of the shirt. That might have been 0102. But you're saying that. First loss of the season, I was with Ange at Wembley for the Community Shield, and I tell you what, your pre-season was shaky. But I was impressed by what I saw. Listen, City controlled it for the first sort of like 25 minutes. I thought United could have scored like 2 or 3, mate. 2 or 3. So going into this...
You'll take your point.
I said back-to-back. I'm feeling a bit shaky, to be honest with you. Especially as you guys mentioned with Ahmad and Garnacho. I think they're absolutely unbelievable.
We'll get to the Man United side of things shortly, but in terms of Fulham's business and pre-season, how do you think they're shaping up squad-wise? I mean, Smith-Rowe through the door. Need to find a long-term replacement for Paulinho. If you want Scott McTominay, cough up, put more bids in. We're open to offers. But how's Fulham's squad looking going into this?
Listen, we've made some lovely little transfers. Emil Smith-Rowe coming in, we've given him a lifeline pretty much. Club record transfer fee. He's looked good in pre-seasons, back-to-back goals in both games. He's looking sharp. He's looking ready. Last season, he had the opportunity to play for Mikel Arteta. Didn't have, a handful of injuries. I think he was available to be selected for 33 games. He's ready to go. He knew he wasn't getting that time at Arsenal, so bang, let's go, straight into the Fulham squad. He's making himself look dangerous. You mentioned Scott McTominay there. I want McTominay, I really do. Yeah. But he's not a Joao Paulinho replacement. No. He's not. He's more of that box-to-box midfielder, that Roman 8, that can just go about and make himself busy. I think he's a quality player.
What's he worth then? If Emil Smith-Rowe is worth 35 million when he's been inactive for a little while through injuries and lack of selection, Scott McTominay, over a couple of hundred appearances for Man United, played in big games. I'm trying to flog him here. He can crash the box, get your goals, wash your maximum bid.
What you've got to remember is, though, Smith-Rowe comes with that English player tax, and someone watches this be like, McTominay is English. He's Scottish. He's Scottish. So the Scottish
scoring goals in the Euros campaign against Spain, mate.
Oh yeah, come on. The Scottish tax isn't a thing, so we have to notch it down about 10 million. What did we say earlier? I think we were talking about the region of 23 million that Fulham submitted, and you said
25 to 30.
I'd happily pay 25. We've been linked to Andre, who's become a big name over in Brazil. It's been like 3 transfer windows
always
now that have been linked to him.
Yeah.
And I think them two coming in could be different gravy. Harrison Reed, even though he's had good games at Old Trafford over the last couple of years.
He was bossing the part last year.
Literally. When Mitrovic lost his head, he was one of the best players on the pitch, and I think he was playing right mid or something like that. But how it's shaping up now, we brought in a new centre-half. We've got like 3 left-footed centre-halves, which is like scaring me a little bit. Really worried about that. But it's that midfield. It's replacing Joao Paulinho. And I know you guys said before I came on, you needed another defensive midfielder. I was saying last year when Paulinho was linked to Bayern Munich, that Liverpool last season, and I said it before the season started, Joao Paulinho going into that Liverpool midfield would have helped him towards the title. Yeah. And I think you guys might have missed a trick. What, do we send him to Bayern Munich for 43 million
quid? I think he just wanted to go there, though. I think the move collapsed last year, he was pretty much there. Kind of got Conor Gallagher fashion.
He's Premier League proven.
Would have been perfect.
And obviously Casemiro last season lost his legs a little bit, played all right on Saturday. But he doubles the amount of tackles which Casemiro has done over the last 2 seasons.
He's proper. Paulinho, in terms of a partner for Kobbie Mainoo, who's got legs, who's combative, which is why we're going after Man Utd. It's the same profile, isn't it?
It's all about holding that shape, which he did so well for Fulham. But as soon as you put him in a talented squad like Manchester United, I'm not saying Fulham's players aren't talented.
No, you're right.
It's that stability. It's that stability. What we saw at Manchester United last year, we didn't really know the style of play. High line, high pressing, yet that midfield there were gaps absolutely everywhere. Where I was thinking that Joao Paulinho would have kept that shape for Manchester United.
I think it was the age profile, because I know for a fact that this time last year he was offered to Chelsea and they said he's 28. It doesn't really fit what we're trying to do in terms of staggering the transfer fee over a long period of time in the contract. There's no sell-on value. I think it's probably the same for Manchester United. I'm not backing that strategy because I think you've got to get a nice mix. You can see what Ineos are trying to recruit, but I would have been all in for Paulinho. I think he would have been that transformational signing. I've been crying out for Declan Rice for a number of years, and you look at the difference that he made for Arsenal. But it would worry me as a Fulham fan.
100%.
The lightweight midfield, you've got Harrison Reed or Lukic in there, up against Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro, probably going to hold for United. You've got Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes running ahead of them. I think that's a real key area that United can exploit this weekend. Good time to play Fulham.
In terms, we hope. Famous last words. Angelina, in terms of our team, and Crookie, I'll come to you straight after that as well. Out of the new signings we've made, okay, Yoro can't, but out, Mazraoui and De Ligt, who should definitely start? Who should be in that side, if not both?
I want to see De Ligt 100%. I think that you want to, you've got these new signings. We want to hit the ground running. We want to see. Obviously, Euro is injured, but I don't see him being somebody who's just going to be kind of sitting back. You don't pay that much money for a defender, especially one that's linked to Real Madrid, just for him to dip in here and there. I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge, a nice challenge maybe, who is going to be Man United's, central defensive pair. So let's hit the ground running. Let's get him in there and see what he can do. I think that with the right, I think we were talking about it earlier, I would assume that Dalot would probably stay there. I think De Ligt 100% I would really like to see and I expect to see. He's been signed, he's sat there. Let's get going.
Joshua Zirkzee, hasn't played for us at all yet.
No.
We've got Bruno in the false nine. It was Jadon Sancho throughout pre-season. Are we assuming Bruno Fernandes, in the absence of a striker being available and Xerxes not playing for us, will probably carry on as a false nine in this game?
I think so. I think for me it's probably 2 changes maximum, but probably only one. De Ligt coming in for Johnny Evans. I'd imagine that Martinez will keep his place at left back because Mazraoui perhaps not up to speed yet. And I'd imagine going forward you're going to see a similar setup. Bruno in that false number 9, Mason Mount giving licence to roam, and then Mainoo and Casemiro in midfield. And then you're looking at Ahmad, Garnacho, Rashford. 2 of those 3 will start.
Do you think there's a chance, it would be really harsh if it did happen, do you think there's a chance that he might go back to Garnacho on the right and Ahmad doesn't start this game?
Yeah, potentially I think there is.
I think that would be really disappointing.
I agree.
I think Ahmad deserves this run.
Because of the way he ended last season, the pre-season that he's had, I'm with you. I guess the other option is, and he's done this before, you could play Marcus Rashford through the middle and maybe drop Mason Mount to the bench. But again, having invested so heavily in Mount, they've given him the number 7 shirt. I think they want him to have...
And he's actually fit now.
He's pony, mate.
Who?
Mason Mount.
No.
He's anonymous, mate.
No,
Me and Andrew
he's
sat
a good
there at Wembley
player.
and I was like, I turned to her and I went, do you know I completely forgot existed? Mason Mount.
Do you know what? In terms of... I don't think he's pony as a player. Yeah, he's a good footballer. In terms of... Now, this is the conundrum with Erik ten Hag because... And the fact he's been brought in. What's the plan? He's never going to play... When everyone's fit, he's never going to play in a 10 instead of Bruno Fernandes. OK, I understand that. We don't have a luxury 6 where you can say we got 2 8s. So you're going to say you don't really want Kobbie Mainoo being that deepest, just sitting there. He's way better than that.
He's got much more to his game than that.
On the left-hand side, we saw him brought on a couple of times last season, scored a couple of goals from there, 1 goal against Brentford sort of thing, come on against Chelsea on the left. Is it just a case that he's going to be a multifunctional player for us, Angelina? And what sort of season do we need from him this year? Where does he fit in?
Again, this is another player where we need a big season. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not. I don't think he went and got injured on purpose.
No, that was a nightmare for him last year. No.
You would like to think that with everything that happened, especially with that Chelsea departure and the way that things went down, he is going to want to prove himself. And
he wants to do well.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I really am expecting, again, as a situation of hitting the ground running. He's had time to get over this injury. He's had pre-season. I really am expecting big things from him. And I hope he delivers for us because he's our player. But I hope he delivers for himself as well because I think it's going to be important.
Do you know what? After what you've just said, absolutely scandalous taking down a player who, let's be honest, was really important for England at one stage. Chelsea fans.
I didn't rate him at Chelsea.
Chelsea fans.
I didn't rate him at Chelsea.
It's the Fulham. I think it's the Fulham.
I would love it if he scores the winner. If he scores the winner this weekend,
do you know what? It
don't
probably
come
will
back.
happen because you lot.
No, do come back.
When you lot come to our gaff. What is it? Last 2 times we've
minute, mate.
We've taken you right to the wire every time. Garnacho pops up.
Do you get points for that?
Yeah, sorry.
Do you get points?
For the people in the back.
Bruno,
No,
Paulinho on his backside, bottom corner.
Yeah, brilliant.
You know what I mean?
Cheers. Thank you very
Leno
much.
should have done better.
Garnacho the year before.
Garnacho just before the World Cup.
Yeah, cheers.
Shades of
guys,
Ronaldo.
Yeah. But there's probably about 12 points we probably could have taken off of you in the last sort of like 2 or 3 years. But
it's always tight.
to say Mason Mount is going to
You've beaten Man United 4 times in the last God knows
But it's
how many
different
years.
times, Flex. It's
Different times like what?
Well,
FA Cup had it all in your hands. What, leading 1-0?
Well,
Total
we had
combustion. 2 players sent off.
Mitrovic, 2 players sent off, and the manager sent off as well. I was at my home in Tooting crying. I was crying, mate. I was planning the way to Wembley, going to the pubs and all that, going down Wembley way with the boys. And then all of a sudden, Sabitzer comes up and scores the winner. I was just like,
Lovely little flick.
wow, it's amazing what football can do, isn't it? It's amazing what football can do.
On a serious note, what fears, what's the biggest fears you've got facing Man United the first game of the season? All jokes aside, what are you looking at thinking, you know, that worries me? Yeah, that worries me.
I think it's those wingers. I genuinely do. Marcus Rashford, I said last year, I mean, I'm glad he didn't get called up for England. Obviously, something's happened to that bloke because the season before he was unbelievable. If you're playing Marcus Rashford down through the middle, and I mean, Issa Diop, like I mentioned, isn't the most fantastic player on planet Earth. I reckon Calvin Bassey will keep him quiet easily. Bench Marcus Rashford, easy. Bench him. That's the best thing. The only 2 things that happens, those 2 wingers, and we've got 2 good, fullbacks and Timothy Castagna and Robinson.
I like Robinson.
And 2 decent centre-halves.
Castagna's got a yellow card in him, though, hasn't he? If he gets booked early doors, that could be...
I think our whole back line's got a yellow card in him. But disciplinary-wise, it's kind of a benefit of not having Joao Paulinho anymore because he won't be giving away yellow cards. But what scares me most about Fulham, no leaders. No, there's none of them. Tom Cairney won't start. Captain, because he's
Harrison very quietly is
quietly,
but
but what you've got to think about, Crookie, we've lost Tosin, we've lost Ream, we've lost Paulinho, and we've lost Bobby De Cordova-Reid to Leicester this summer as well. And it's like, those are 4 massive players that have been with the club for so long. Paulinho only 2 years. But same time, you're going to be able to exploit that midfield. Mason Mount probably will score a 30-yard now.
I can't wait.
You're set it in stone
keep your
now.
phone
It's going to be. I think it's going to be cagey. It's been cagey every single time, but there's always opportunity for goals in this fixture over the last couple of years.
With all that said and done then, let's lock in the predictions for the game. The curtain raiser. I think the Premier League have tried to give us the Arsenal slot, the embarrassing slot where there's an upset there. You know, the Arsenal-Brentford slot. They tried to do it to him again with Palace, I think, after that. But it's now our slot. The world's going to be watching. Everyone's going to be looking in at Man United. The haters are going to be hoping that there's a slip-up and the pressure's on straight away. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen, surely, Crookie, aren't we?
I hope there's a nice early goal and it can be a relatively serene Friday evening.
Comfortable evening at Old Trafford.
I think in reality, both teams will score and United will come out on top 2-1.
Angelina?
I was thinking similar, but you know what? I am going to have faith in our defence. I'm going to have faith in our goalkeeper, even though that can be difficult.
We haven't actually. We need another show now.
Him, yeah. I'm going to start the season on a positive note. I'm going to say 2-0 to United.
Harry, you haven't?
I'll save the best till last, don't we? I'm going to go for Manchester United 2, Fulham 2.
If you predict a draw as a football fan, it means deep down you're going to get beat.
Absolutely.
I think we'll lead the game. I think we'll score the first goal. You mentioned Onana. I think Onana will have a howler because Andreas Pereira, formerly of your parish, will score a 25-yarder. Obviously,
where he should save it.
Yeah, that'll be the first goal of the game, and it'll finish 2-2. I'm expecting another unbelievable game. I love coming up against Manchester United, especially what happened over the last couple of years as well.
Okay. I'm going to go for a clean sheet, positive, on the front foot. I think De Ligt in the starting lineup. Old Trafford's going to be bouncing. The players are going to respond to that. It's under the lights at Old Trafford. First game of the season. Put all the negativity behind us and start on the right foot. So I'm going to go over 2-0 Manchester United win.
Can I ask as well, at what minute do we think the waterfall is going to start?
Well, it's not going to be raining. It's still summer, so it's fine. It's going to be absolutely
It'll be your
fine.
tears. It'll be raining down.
Guys, thanks for joining us. That's all we've got time for on today's edition of Inside. There was a big thank you to Alex Crook, Angelina Kelly, and resident Fulham fan Harry Durham, and we will see you on another episode next week. Take care. Until then, bye-bye.